North Korea has carried out a new missile test just 8 days after its last test launch. It was initially picked up on by South Korea's military and later confirmed by Japan and the United States.
Little information at this point. What we know, it flew about 300 miles before landing in the Sea of Japan.
최강의 해곡제력의 나라와 민족의 존엄도 걸음걸음 이끌어주신 경애하는 군수님.
It was used at the same launch site that was used last month near Pukchang. That test failed. However, experts say that last weekend's test showed significant advances in North Korea's program, surpassing perhaps even Pyongyang's expectations. So they see these tests less as political provocation than the hallmarks of an advancing program and a ramped-up schedule of tests in order to hone different aspects of it. This also suggests that Kim Jong-un may be less interested in talks right now than furthering his technology. Despite any pressure he might be getting from China, every test seems to suggest that it's undermining the belief that talks at this point are even an option.
More details now from Murad Gazdiev.
When it comes to North Korea, passions aren't being inflamed. They're on fire and burning hotter seemingly every week. Another ballistic missile launch, 1 week since its last such launch. We know they launched this missile, which flew for 500 kilometers. They launched at 8 a.m. GMT from the South Pyongyang province. It supposedly landed in the Sea of Japan. Nevertheless, Japan's already come out. It's condemned this launch. It said it was a danger to shipping, to aviation. But it also had a message, and Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs said this: I feel strongly that further pressure is needed when assessing North Korea's provocative behavior. I will continue to work with China while working with the US and South Korea. We have to think about it.
Japanese school children at play, overseen by teachers who sometimes join in the fun, until they're suddenly interrupted. At the sound of the siren, children hit the deck and wait for further instructions. This is a drill, a loudspeaker announces. A missile has been launched. This is Japan's first missile evacuation exercise, a simulation preparing people for the threat of a possible North Korean missile strike against this country. The Japanese government is trying to demonstrate that as North Korea's missile program grows more sophisticated, communities like this could become a target. When it's all over, a government official thanks the volunteers and promises the Japanese armed forces will do all they can to shoot down North Korean missiles. But earlier this month, neither Japan nor its US and South Korean allies could stop North Korea from successfully firing at least 4 missiles in a single day. 3 of them landed in the sea less than 200 nautical miles from this small coastal town. In this sleepy fishing port, locals are waking up to a growing threat. It's scary, says this fisherman, who's just hauled in freshly caught octopus. You never know what the North Koreans might do next. For some here, the missile exercise brings back painful memories. During World War II, we performed evacuation drills, 89-year-old Renosuke Ishigaki tells me. We put on gas masks and dug tunnels to hide in, and in the future, we might have to do that again. The principal of the main elementary school here says his students need to be prepared for a man-made disaster. Usually we perform drills for natural disasters, he says, but the potential threat from a missile is beyond imagination. In addition to its fresh air and seafood, this remote corner of Japan is famous for Namahage, a fairy tale monster that kept kids awake at night. But now there's a very real threat that may leave everyone here losing sleep.
And that is the message coming from all of these countries, South Korea, Japan, the United States. It is about meeting North Korea and fighting fire with fire. Earlier on, North Korea vowed that such an approach would not work. As it said, the more the US increases pressure against us, the more we will ramp up our efforts to boost our nuclear deterrence. The United States earlier said that they won't back down, that they will meet North Korea at every turn and fight them with much the same tactics. Here's what the United States UN representative had to say.
He's in a state of paranoia. He's incredibly concerned about anything and everything around him. And so what we're going to do is continue to tighten the screws. He feels it. He absolutely feels it. And we're going to continue, whether it's sanctions, whether it's press statements, anything that we have to do, we're going to do.
Doesn't appear to be affecting his actions.
De-escalation is coming from all sides. All sides believe that the only way to end this is, through a show of force. And the Russian president's come out and he said that cooler heads must prevail, that everybody needs to take it down a notch, and that, provocation's not going to get anyone anywhere.
Russia is against expanding the pool of nuclear powers, including North Korea. We've seen the forcible overthrow of regimes and invasions of other countries, which provokes an arms race. We need a more comprehensive approach to strengthen the system of guarantees, relying on international law. We have to return to dialogue with North Korea. We need to stop intimidating them and find peaceful solutions. I believe it's possible.
An intensity of launches like what we're seeing now being carried out by North Korea is nearly unprecedented, given that they're testing these intercontinental and regular ballistic missiles. So, there's a lot of room for escalation, and let's just hope it doesn't come to that.
Well, let's get some analysis from the region now. In Hong Kong, political analyst Joseph Cheng joins us. Mr. Cheng, welcome back to RT. What do you think is likely to be the result of this acceleration of North Korea's missile program?
Well, this kind of missile tests are to be expected. Certainly, North Korea wants to continue to attract global attention. It wants to continue to exert pressure on the United States and on South Korea. And of course, it is preparing itself to achieve the ultimate objective of being able to attack the United States with nuclear-tipped long-range missiles. At the moment, certainly North Korean missiles can cover American bases in South Korea and Japan. However, it seems to be exercising a little bit of self-restraint as nuclear tests at this stage are seen to be too provocative.
Do you expect anything from the Trump administration? Do you expect any restraint there, or do you expect another fleet to head its way, or more troops in the south?
I guess there will be more posturing, such as strengthening of economic sanctions against North Korea. There's not much more you can do. There may well be a bit more military exercises and so on. The South Korean government is now being formed after the presidential elections. There may be some gestures of reconciliation towards renewal of bilateral negotiations, but the basic emphasis seems to remain unchanged. Certainly, North Korea is asking for a very high price. It wants some kind of direct negotiations with the United States towards formal diplomatic relations and some kind of mutual non-attack, non-aggression agreement, which cannot be met under the present circumstances.
Yeah. President Putin warned about the dangers of an arms race as this brinkmanship, this one-upmanship and brinkmanship continues. At some point, someone's going to snap, though, and given that North Korea repeatedly ignores warnings from the UN, it ignores its allies in the region as well, certainly China, and continues regardless, what has to happen for this to be solved peacefully?